Trade rumors are escalating. A new report reveals a wild trade. We get into exactly what that is in this edition of Dodgers Digest. Hey, this is Mike Nelson. Of course, the Dodgers are still, as we know, having some issues when it comes to their outfield. And, of course, Michael Conforto has had a really slow start to 2025. But maybe there will be a short-term fix, or maybe a fix that will be coming soon in a trade. We get into exactly what that is in this report. The Dodgers would lose 3 top prospects in a blockbuster trade for an all-star outfielder, which, of course, the Dodgers would love to have, for Michael Conforto. And that all-star outfielder is Jarren Duran, right, from the Boston Red Sox. Bleacher Report Zachary D. Reimer seems to think the Dodgers would potentially go after Duran, who, as we know, has had a pretty good start to the 2025 season, hitting about 270, a lot better than what Michael Conforto is doing. And the Dodgers would really need some help there in left field. This could potentially be a fix, could be a player the Dodgers could seriously consider. Although there's, a lot of different parts to this report, a lot of different things that I think we have to get into here in this episode, because Brandon Gomes recently came out and spoke, in favor of keeping Michael Conforto, right? I mean, I think that was reported. We talked about it this morning with Brad J. The Dodgers seem like they're going to be keeping Michael Conforto, are they, right? Or are they just saying that to take pressure off of Conforto, right? Which I think could potentially be the case. They're just trying to take pressure off of him, and they don't rule out a possible trade for somebody in the outfield if the right package comes along. Because, come on, why would the Dodgers pass up on Duran if there's a good trade available, right? But let's get into exactly what that trade would be, right? So what would the Dodgers have to give up to trade for Duran, who's, like I said, hitting 274 with 4 home runs, 35 RBI, which is a lot better than what Conforto's doing with only 3 home runs and 10 RBI. I mean, I think I'd rather have 35 over 10. I think it would be a win-win for the Dodgers if they were able to get Duran and get him to play every day in left field instead of Conforto, right? So this is what Reimer from Bleacher Report would propose for this trade. And this is where I think it kind of goes wrong, because I don't know if the Dodgers would really make this kind of a trade. Think about it. They would have to trade Dalton Rushing, who they just promoted, who they just basically, think about it, they released Austin Barnes, to make space for Rushing on the roster so he could be backup catcher. This potential trade package includes Rushing, left-handed pitcher Jackson Ferris, who has, a lot of upside, shortstop Emil Morales, who I think the Dodgers would move on for Morales, right? There isn't really a spot for him on this team now, especially with the resurgence of Kim and Betts kind of being that everyday shortstop. So, okay, I think Morales is a player they could move on from. But come on, Ferris and Rushing, I mean, these guys are, players that, especially Dalton Rushing, right? I mean, this guy has a big upside. I mean, this guy is a catcher. He could play in the outfield. He could maybe be the future first baseman for the Dodgers, right? I mean, when Freddie Freeman retires, maybe it's going to be Rushing at first base, because Will Smith isn't retiring anytime soon, right? He just signed a 10-year contract recently, was it last year? So, I mean, there's still a long way to go for Will Smith, with the Dodgers, right? This guy isn't going anywhere. And that's why Dalton Rushing, it's going to be really tough for Rushing to get, obviously, that everyday, catching spot on this team, right? Because the Dodgers have an everyday catcher. I mean, the Dodgers have a big luxury in having 2 players that are really good hitters and can catch, right? In Smith and Rushing. So that's why I think the rumors for Dalton Rushing are always going to be there. A possible trade package player, a possible player the Dodgers would trade, simply because they already have a catcher on the roster in Will Smith. I mean, I think everybody would agree with that. Rushing is always going to be kind of there, especially if he struggles offensively, which he has struggled at times in his young baseball career so far with the Dodgers, right? He has struggled at times offensively. So if that continues, there's always going to be that possibility the Dodgers would think of moving on for him. But I think it's too early right now. I really think it's way too early to be thinking of Rushing getting packaged in a deal. So I'm going to not think this is realistic, this package that they're talking about here. Maybe you take out Russian and include Conforto. Then maybe we're talking about a pretty good trade, right? But I doubt the Red Sox would be interested in a trade like that for Conforto because Conforto's done after this year. He's a free agent, right? And it's a lot of money you would have to pay him. So this is obviously why it gets a bit complicated to get Duran. And, this is what Brandon Gomes, GM, said, just recently about Michael Conforto, saying he's in a fine place. He's going to keep getting those opportunities. We fully expect him to return forward. And this guy isn't going anywhere. Basically, what Gomes is saying, he's not going to send him to AAA. He's not going to bench him. This is still going to be a guy you're going to see coming out for the Dodgers on a daily basis, which is what the Dodgers have turned Conforto into. Conforto has turned into an everyday Dodger player. He's turned into a player the Dodgers are using on a daily basis, and it doesn't seem like that's going to change, right? It just does not seem like that's going to change. But what does everybody think out there? Do you think the Dodgers would trade for Duran on the Red Sox? Does it seem like a player the Dodgers would make a trade for? Would the Dodgers consider a trade for him? I mean, I think they would if the right pieces were there. But with Conforto being kind of the elephant in the room here, $17 million owed, maybe it's not realistic to think that's a possibility. Maybe it's not realistic for the Dodgers to trade for Duran because they have Conforto. If they didn't have him on the roster, then we'd be talking about a totally different scenario, right? We'd be talking about just a completely different possibility, right? But because of that, I think that's obviously a big issue. And this article kind of talks about that too as well. Talking about it doesn't appear the Dodgers would like. This is, of course, from the article. I got this from Sports Illustrated, written by Valentina Martinez, talking about it doesn't appear the Dodgers would make a splash at this summer's deadline for Duran, and basically because Conforto was on this roster, which is unfortunate because the Dodgers, when is enough going to be enough, right? Because, think about it, this week against San Diego, San Francisco, the Dodgers have San Diego again next week. These are a lot. The next, what is it? 3-6. The next 10 games is absolutely crucial for the Dodgers, right? And Conforto, if he doesn't do well in these games, when is enough, right? Would the Dodgers think of releasing DFAing Conforto? That's a big possibility if things don't turn around soon, right? And then that's when the door could kind of open for the Dodgers to make a trade for a player like Duran, but I don't know. I'm going to pass on this one, guys. I don't think the Dodgers make this deal. I don't know what everybody thinks out there, but I don't think we trade for Duran in this season. At least not this year. Maybe the next 2 years. Who knows? But not yet. We have Conforto. We're going to have to stand by him, and hopefully he turns it around soon for the Dodgers. As always, make sure to subscribe. Big series against San Diego starting tonight. Looking forward to watching the games. As always, let's go Dodgers. Woo!